The call settings section is where you set up a few of the basics about your call. Let's go ahead and click the Edit Call Settings button, and I'll walk through each of these. Now, the site URL is what you signed up for when you created your demo call, and this is the URL that your users will come to. If you need to change the URL, you can contact us, and we're able to change that for you at any time. But you'll definitely want to make sure that you change it before you go live, and you leave it the same after your users start submitting to your call. Next is the call name. Now, this call name is important because this call name is used in various emails that the user receives when they register or submit, and a few other places like that. The email address also needs to be a valid email address. When your users go and contact you on the contact page, which is automatically built into your call, the details that they fill out and hit send will be automatically sent to the email address you have on file. Next is the contact phone, which is again displayed on your contact page at the top should your users need to phone in with a specific question. Next, the call type section. Now, this section does change a few of the features of your call, so I'll go ahead and look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, I have right now my call set to an exhibition type, but I'm going to start out with standard. So I'll switch to standard and say update. Now, a standard call is just a typical juried call for entry. And when you have a standard call enabled, your users will see the word submission. We equate a submission with an entry. So for example, when I come over here as a registered user and I log in as Andrew or one of these accounts down here, you'll see it says add new submission. And everywhere it says my submissions, add new submission, submission payment, submission, submission, submission. Okay, now let's go ahead and go back to the admin panel. And let's go back to those call settings, and we're going to switch the call type. So I'm going to come over here to a festival second and say update. Now, if your call type is set to a festival, two things change. One, you get a new booths category down here where you can set up booths, vendor, food, performance booths, and associate prices with those booths that your users can sign up for. Secondly, let's go back ahead and log in as another user here. In the front end, it's now called application. So your users will submit an application. Typically, they only submit one, and that's what they enter in your call. With an application or a festival call type, they can add up to 10 attachments on each individual submission. With a standard call, they're allowed up to 3. Let's go ahead and switch back to the admin user and go back to the call settings. Now we're going to come in here and move to the exhibition. Is very similar to the booth where they get 10 attachments per submission, and it's called application as well. And the fourth type here is called continuous. In a continuous call type, there is no submission start date or end date. Those settings are automatically ignored. And so your users can submit applications on a rolling basis sort of continually. With the continuous call type only, every time a user submits a new application, you'll receive an email notification. With all the rest, you don't receive notifications upon entry because typically you'll get tens and maybe even hundreds and hundreds, occasionally thousands of emails. But with continuous, you will be notified for every single application. This is useful if your users maybe submit applications for a sculpture that they submit through town and they need to submit applications and those sort of come in periodically. You can just set that to continuous and that won't ever expire. All right, next down here we have the time zone. So you'll definitely want to set the time zone because this is how all of your dates will be displayed in your call when your users submit. You'll want to set up your currency. You're able to accept any sort of currency that's listed here. If you have a currency that's not listed here, go ahead and shoot us an email and we should be able to enable that for you. And then lastly, the language and locale. Currently, we only support English and Spanish, but if you have a specific language that you require and you're willing to do the translation, we can enable that for you.